Hello and welcome to the HTML 101 Kickstart video course. This particular video is video number 1, and that is the introduction to HTML. Just want to say congratulations on grabbing access to this video course. So many people online, whether it's online business, online careers, or anything mainly to do with setting up web pages or landing pages, regardless of what niche that you are in, you oftentimes face these technological pains over and over again when it comes to setting up these basic landing pages. Even if you're using something like WordPress or Joomla and it's a content management system that most of the things are done for you, there will be at times when you need to edit things like hyperlinks or even basic things like headers, images, break tags to make things look nice. And they run into snags along the way. So if you run into those snags like everybody else along the road because you do not know basic HTML coding, then don't fret. That's the purpose of this video course. So what I want to do is start out with some of the basics, and then we will move out to some of the more advanced when you feel like you're more confident and you get your feet wet. Now, before we jump into the introduction piece, I want to give you a quick videos overview so you know exactly what to expect and exactly what we are going to talk about step by step throughout this video course. So obviously this is going to be video number 1. Video number 2 is going to be hacking without knowing code. So I want to start out with utilizing a HTML editing tool called a WYSIWYG tool. More on that in just a minute. Now, by utilizing that tool, it'll get your feet wet so that you can feel a little bit more confident when it comes to HTML code. So you'll be able to see the code and you'll be able to see what it looks like in the browser view. So by hacking without knowing code, this is a specific strategy that you can utilize in the future where if you don't know coding, there's still a way to hack around HTML coding and make things look nice and things like that. But at the end of the day, you want to know basic HTML coding, which we'll dive into video number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So number 3, we're going to talk about the basics of open and close tags. Once you understand this basic concept and how HTML code opens and closes via their tags, which is very, very simple, by the way, it will make more sense. And then from that point on, what I've done is I've honed in and focused on specific tags that you will run into during your journey. So headings is something that you're going to run into on and on and on. So we're going to focus on that in video number 4. Video number 5, we're going to talk about break tags. Break tags allow you to break sentences up so that you have white space in between. This is also good by creating white space between images and everything like that. Video number 6, we're going to talk about basic formatting, underlining, bolding, italicizing, things like that you are going to run into. Video number 7, we're going to talk about lists, unordered lists and ordered lists. How do you create these types of lists? Because this is something that you're going to want to do. And video number 8, we're going to talk about image tags, how to make them SEO friendly, and of course video number 9, we're going to talk about hyperlinks. Now, not just how to create a hyperlink, but how to make it so when somebody clicks on it, it opens up in a new window. So this is something that you are going to face over and over again, and that's why we're focusing specifically on these tags. Now, in order to memorize HTML code, I want to give you some pointers. You do not need to learn all HTML code, so that's good. Do not get freaked out or anything like that. You do not need to learn all HTML code. You just need to know the basics, and it'll make more sense as we dive in. And what I recommend that you do is that you should always be able to refer back to this video course at a later time. And if you want to watch to the end of the video course and then implement things and then refer back, that's totally fine. Now, one thing I found that helps when it comes to memorization oftentimes is that it's easier to do things while I teach, to make things stick. So while I teach, if you want to pause the video at any time and then implement it yourself, that will actually stick more stronger in your brain so that as you act and you do it, it'll stick in your mind. So some people are different. That works very well with kinesthetic visual learners. You can watch all the way to the end and then follow along. That's totally fine. So do what's best for you. Don't feel like you have to do it in a certain way. So now let's talk about the tools that you're going to need. Obviously, I'm not going to require you to dish out any more money, so we're going to stick with a lot of free things like Composer. Composer actually is a tool that I use. Even though I understand HTML coding, I still use Composer because Composer is a great way to hack, like I said, without needing to know a lot of code. So we will talk more about that in video number 2. Now, Composer is another WYSIWYG HTML editor tool. You don't have to use Composer if you don't want to. If you want to go to Google and you type in WYSIWYG HTML editor, as you can see here, then you'll see a variety of other tools. Now, what you see is what you get. That means that it's kind of like Microsoft Word in a sense that you can see what's happening on the screen, but on the back end, there's a lot of code that's happening. So I'll show you that in just a minute. And Composer, I'd highly recommend. We use it all the time, and we always recommend it for many, many years. It's been going strong, well over 5, 6, 7 years. Now, you can always refer back to W3 Schools as well, if you want to. But as far as tools that you have to pay for, none that we would recommend right now. So that's it. Nothing really fancy. And if you want to know how to find Composer, let me go ahead and show you that right now. So the easiest way to access Composer, the HTML editing tool, because we are going to be utilizing this tool in this video course, is by going to kompozer.net, as you can see up right here. So that's kompozer. So it's kind of like Composer with a C, but it has a K. Now, as you can see, it is a easy web authoring tool. It's what we call a what you see is what you get. So you see it on the screen as a web editing tool, and the code will actually be shown on the back end. So I'll show you that in just a minute, but I highly recommend just go ahead and download this. This one is for Windows, so if you are using a Mac or Linux computer, that's fine. It is compatible as well. You just got to go to the download link here. So if you go here, you'll be able to see there's a stable version and there is a developed version. But if you scroll all the way about midpoint of the page, you'll see different languages. You'll see them for Windows installers, Windows zip files, Mac OS, download images, and Linux as well. So it is compatible to just about any type of PC and operating system, the 3 main ones right here. So go ahead and download that, install that onto your computer, because that is what we will be using next. Now, before I move on to video number 2, we are going to talk about the basic structure of an HTML body. So whenever you create a new HTML page, then basically what it looks like is at the top, you're going to have an HTML tag, and think about it wrapping it around, if you can think about it. So you have the HTML, you have the head, which is right underneath the HTML. So this is kind of saying, okay, this is a HTML page, and then the next thing you'll see is the head. And if you think about a human body, you have the head, and then right maybe on the head, right below that, you could have like a name tag, like the title or something. And then right below that, or on that, you can have a body. And then of course you have your feet and everything like that. So that's probably the easiest way to think about it. You have HTML, if you can think of like a stick figure or something. You got the HTML guy, he's got a head, and then he's got a name tag, that's a title, and then he's got a body. If you can remember that, then it's actually fairly easy to understand when I move on to video number 2 and I break it down for you. So let's move on to video number 2, and it'll make a lot more sense when we actually go there.